community that we share. We pray, Lord, that you give safety to our police and fire departments, and we thank you, Lord, for their service and the service of our clerk and maintenance divisions. We pray, Lord, that you grant us the wisdom to move into the future and to do what's best for our community. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Moss. We'll go ahead and convene the meeting. If clerk would please take roll.
Mayor Grant,
Present.
Mrs. DeLong, Mr. Moss,
Present.
Mr. Voorhees,
Present.
Mrs. Carnahan,
Present.
Mr. Roderick,
Present.
Attorney Barst,
Present.
Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. Junior Counsel Eli French,
Present.
Natalie Jean,
Present.
Jocelyn Barnett,
Present.
Grace Hiller, Caden Ashley, Addison Hill. Okay, Mayor.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last two meetings? That would have been 7/8 and 7/22. And if there's any corrections, let us know.
I don't think it's a correction, but when we did discuss the street, where was that? Oh, about Mill Street becoming two-way, I did mention about the College Street between Washington and Main Street, or would still be Jackson there, because it was turned one way when the elementary school was there, and I thought we might want to keep that on our radar.
Which minutes were those in?
It would have been when we discussed the Mill Street.
I wasn't at the July 8th meeting, so was it
Okay.
July 8th or was it the 22nd?
Would have been the
It was the
Okay.
8th. And I thought that everybody kind of nodded their head and said, yeah, we want to do that and to include that in the ordinance, but did you catch that?
Yes, so here's the thing, is that wasn't in the code book and we cannot find the ordinance turning it into a one-way. So for all intents and purposes, there's nothing to repeal.
So we just take the
Just
signs
So I would
down.
just take the signs down.
Hey, that
I
was
got-
easy.
It said it was a two-way and I've got nothing stating that it was ever made a one-way.
You
Okay.
guys did that.
Well, with that, I make a motion, we approve the minutes from 7/8/24 and 7/22/24 as written.
I'll
second
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
All right.
Motion carries. All
Okay,
minutes are approved.
who made the motion
Mr. Roderick.
and seconded? Scott
Scott.
Voorhees? Thank you.
Do we have any citizens petitions, questions, and concerns? This is your chance to speak up if you're here to complain or praise or whatever you got. Mr. Madden.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up about a dog park. I brought it up 4 years ago, and Paws and Claws is maintaining about 30 dogs all the time. And I think it would be helpful if people had a place to take their dogs and let them run. There's a few places down at the river that would work, or even up by the old park pool. But I think every time I'm out with my dogs, I see people with their dogs down at the river, up the park, and we need a safe place to let our dogs run and not have to worry about tickets or getting in anybody else's way. And there's a lot of people in town, I think it would really help, and I would love to see sooner than later something happens where we can safely take our dogs someplace.
Yes, sir. Please state your name.
My name's Delbert Story. Had anybody thought about possibly using the old football field once we get moved out to the new high school for that?
Right now, we don't know what's going to happen with that. School's going to retain that for now. Of course, they're going to play up there this year. But for now, the school's planning to retain that, and it's the future that's kind of up in the air. I don't want to answer for the park board, but I guess I will, and you can chime in. But we did have a dog park on the plans for down at the riverfront, but the way the money went as quickly as it did before we even got anything built down there, that's kind of on the back burner for now. But I think everybody that I've talked to would like to see a dog park.
And if I needed to get people to pledge, I could have people, I would go to all the businesses, and I know there would be a lot of private people that would, if money is the biggest issue, I think we could, if there was a place where we were given permission or would be able to be used for a dog park, I would gladly help.
You're thinking like a fenced-in area of
Yeah,
some
we need
type,
something with
yeah.
a fenced-in area, and doesn't have to be anything, you know, I'm not looking for an agility park or anything, but I'm looking for a safe place for us to let our dogs run, and I'd be hitting up every business here in town, and whatever we would need to do to get it, and not expeditiously,
I think that'd be
as soon as
great.
possible.
Mr. Harmison, feel free to,
Yeah, so the
Comment.
board just completed our 5-year, well, we're in the process of completing our 5-year plan. We just did the survey portion of it, and facilities ranked really high among community members. So as we're building this into the 5-year plan, we're hoping to find funding to, increase or better our pavilions, have dog parks and better facilities. So yeah, I see that being, and
I'll just end by saying that 4 years ago, I
yeah.
basically heard the same thing, and I would rather it not be another
4 years.
My dog's already 16 years old now, so it would be nice to have something sooner than later, and that's where I'll end it. So anybody that has any other ideas would be great.
There is some space between the pool and that playground equipment there behind RMC.
That's where we go almost every day.
I can't remember how the terrain looks, but at least there's space.
Right.
As far as a fence, I don't know. I don't know if I can speak for the park board, but if they could get it privately funded, would that be something that the park board would have a problem with?
No, yeah, I think facilities ranked high among members, so that's definitely up there for priorities. And if we can find grant funding, like we have a very limited budget right now. And I think just fencing initially 3 years ago, we got it priced out for the McDonald Park, and that just short stretch of fencing was gonna cost a lot. So thinking for a larger scale, in regards to dog park, would probably be a significant funds. We'd have to find grant funding.
Or if I find
Or
some
private
donations.
donations, yeah.
Obviously, I would just have people pledge something and I'd bring it to the next
Yeah,
meeting and
work in
see if that
conjunction.
would help with.
What would be a decent target kind of
Cost.
for the fencing and stuff for that?
So, I'd had to ask Eric again, but I want to say that just small stretch of McDonald Park was around $8,000.
Oh my God.
So I looked at,
Are you happy you triggered her?
And I guess just the question I have is,
I'm sorry. I was
we're not
not,
asking you for the
I was not
money.
expecting that price.
obviously, I'd put up fence. And if we have our city employees, we have volunteers to put up fence.
That
And
was
we
my
get the
next
metal
thing, right.
poles and we get all the caps and we do everything. We do a chain link fence. That's something that will last and not rust. I would hate to say we couldn't do it for much, much less. than
Much
that.
I costed it out, and to do 100 feet on each side by 50 feet, it would be less than $3,000. That was with poles, stretchers, 6-foot chain link fence, and that would even leave enough space to where you could enter and then close the door and then go through another door, like a safety for your dogs. So,
And
and that's what I costed out on.
And you need concrete.
And there, yeah, concrete posts. I'm just saying that's, let's say 5,000 total. And if I'll get pledges and we'll work on it. This is something I just wanted to bring forward that I think all of us would,
Yeah.
most of us.
I think everyone's for it.
All right.
And if you want to come to our September meeting, we meet the first Tuesday of the month. Maybe
Okay.
we can work on coordinating the plan.
In this room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And based off what we're doing at Kabachi, is it Kabachi? Wabash. We have a space allocated for that part of that plan, right? So that's where I'd prefer, down there by the river or something, to give the kids more space, everything else. But there's an ideal spot down there if we decide.
We actually had the original plans. I mean, we had the spot for it.
And we had planned like a large and a medium, I think, part of those plans or something. But if we just did one and we police after ourselves, because I'd love a place to let mine run, and having bags or something, minimal expense or
Yeah, a few benches, a couple of trash cans.
just something, not, doesn't have to be extravagant.
No, exactly. Don't worry, I'll be hitting up the coffee house and the grocery store.
I think
My
so.
inbox is kind of full right now.
September will be a good time to catch me.
I promise to keep things on track here tonight. Mr. Madden, do you have anything else?
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
I'm not gonna skip you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sandra Dunnick, I live across the street, and I bent Larry's ear for 2 hours the other day, so I thought I'd come and bend everybody else's ear, but not 2 hours, okay. First, number one is the city contracted with Duke to change all the light bulbs to save money, but there's 4 light lights, large lights with mega wattage pointing right at my house. So I'm lit up like a movie theater over there. And I asked that the city either redo the lights or ask Duke to put in a lower wattage. I have one on this side of my house, one across the street, one across from the parking lot, one in front of the post office, and one in front of the Moose, and they all shine right at me. And my bedrooms are on that level. So that's not a high crime district, it's just me on that corner and the church. So I'm requesting that you either change out the lights. I asked Larry, hey, it's Main Street. We have Main Street rehabilitation. Let's put the historic lights, there's 3 of them maybe, up that street, and it'll lower them. And they look nice. I can have something to look nice instead of a crummy parking lot. And a building that, I don't know what's happening with the craft building over there. But anyway, so that's my first thing, the lights. It's very important to me, and I may just be one person with them shining in my bedroom, but I've got blackout shades. I put up blinds and I have blackout curtains, and it's still like daylight in my bedroom. So anyway, I request that.
Do you want to time us?
Okay, second thing is on the corner of Summit and 6th Street, where I bought that little house, so I don't have any more drug dealers back there. My son almost got run over by a lady coming down with an SUV. I am proposing, that's only a 2-way stop. I'm proposing a 4-way stop as it comes down the hill, and there's, the church up there, there's kids, there's people walking constantly. And I don't know why someone hasn't brought this up before. I've sat on my porch and watched the world go by back there, and people don't even stop at the 2-way stops. So, second thing, let's see, Larry, I had 10 things on my list. The very last big one is the apartment complex that is being proposed up the street. I don't know where that's at. I don't know how to get involved. I don't know how to find out information about it, but I am just enormously opposed to it. It may be commercial zoned. Maybe we need to rezone it. That is in the middle of a residential area, a 3-story building back there with parking, 44 units, I understand, is just totally uncalled for in this town of Attica when there is so many other options. Now, I understand, it's all about money, I suppose. Church needed money to move on, whatever, but maybe we need to look at rezoning that. Maybe put your dog park out there or something. I don't know, but believe me, I don't want to sit on my porch and look at 44 units of an apartment complex that's 3 stories high when all those little houses are only 1 stories around there. Has anybody, am I just barking at the wrong tree right now? Where should I go to get more information about this?
Larry, do you want to speak or do you want me to?
I'd be happy to, let me back up a little bit. I just heard back from Duke Energy today. They're going to be sending me an invoice. I don't know how much that invoice is going to be, but they are going to come take care of your lighting issue across the street. Now, they're not going to fix all the lights around your house, but I did ask them to at least address the one across the street that's shining in your house. And we'll start from there, see where that goes. Like I said, I don't know what this is going to cost, but they're going to send me an invoice as soon as they figure it out. But they were down last Thursday and looked at it, and they're going to come up with a solution to try to drown out some of the light coming into your house. You and I talked about the Summit Street, 6th Street intersection, and I agree with you that I think especially with an apartment complex going in there, there's probably going to be heavier foot traffic. And I agree that I think that the council should probably look at that and maybe recommend that be a 4-way stop and slow some of that traffic down coming down Summit Street to that 4-way stop. As far as stopping the apartment complex, I think that would be a hard stop at this point in time. It's already zoned for that. We really don't have an authority to tell somebody that they can't build something on property that's already zoned for that, and that ship's already sailed. I
Well,
will
that
say,
ship though, that doesn't have to be 3 stories.
I,
It could be smaller than that. It doesn't have to be 44 units.
We-
You're talking 44 times, let's say 2 people per unit. That's 88 more people walking up and down past my house that is abusive to my
and
home.
that's possibly 80.
And 44
that-
cars
that's
or
prob-
more.
I'm sorry, that's possibly 40 more families that are gonna have kids that are gonna move into our school that's already in trouble. We paid to have a housing study done several years ago, and they recommend more housing, more housing, more housing. Harrison Steel is busing people from Crawfordsville right now to come up here and work because there's no place for them to live. So we really, really, really need housing here. And it kind of upsets me when people say, I want it, but I don't want it in my backyard. And I'll go on record saying that.
Well,
and I
what
apologize,
happened to the- what
but
happened to
it's
the-
gotta
Ma'am,
go
if you interrupt
somewhere.
Mayor Graham one more time, I'm gonna ask you to leave. Do not interrupt him while he's speaking. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's okay, but I'm trying to address your thoughts. You're welcome to come sit down in my office and we can close the door and argue all day if you want to. I'm good with that. I'll buy the pop, I'll buy the Coke, or I'll buy the coffee from down at the coffee house and we can sit and talk. But I'm not going to debate it here. If anybody else has any comments.
No, we have a big lack of housing, ma'am, and that we've lost several housing developments, and developers will work with us, and we've got over and over, no, okay, we want it, but not here. We need senior housing, we need workforce housing, we need single family homes. We have limited spots we can do it that are large enough for a developer to come in and entertain. So I'm fully supportive. I know that it's going to create more traffic downtown. It's going to create more citizens. Our town's going to continue to grow. And I'm sorry that you're unhappy with that because I've not heard anybody else, to include the adjoining neighbors, that have everybody support it because they know we need it. Our community has limited options. We have citizens living in homes that are, in my opinion, substandard, shouldn't be lived in, and they need other options. So I fully disagree with you.
And I will add, and for the record, I can walk out on my front porch and I can see the Free Methodist Church from my front porch. So I'm not going to be cynical here and say, well, I don't want it either, because I do want it. And it is going to affect me just like it's going to affect you. I could almost throw a stone and hit the Free Methodist Church from my house. So I'm not going to be the guy that's going to talk to you one way and talk to this person the next way. I'm going to tell you how I feel. So with that being said, thank you for coming, and we can sit down and talk anytime you want. Is there anybody else that has anything for the group tonight?
Mayor, can we make sure?
Could I just make one statement? Look, I love Attica. I moved here. I'm a concerned citizen. I'm all for progress. I lived in California for 35 years. Okay, but I also love the historic part of this town that I feel is getting demolished. And it really concerns me when I hear that, and I haven't heard it before. Like, why wasn't I petitioned, or why wasn't I notified? when I lived
Come to
right
the
here?
council meeting, Sandra, is all I can tell you, or watch them on
I am.
Facebook. Or we'll go ahead and move on. Ma'am, did you have something?
Yeah, my name is Brittany Hayes. I'm the director of the Attica Public Library. I think you heard from Jill last time. We just have more information about the library and about our adding on to the library, like doing our renovation. Our library board, we don't have elected officials. So you guys are you are our fiscal body. So at the next meeting, we would like to be put on the agenda for you guys to approve our additional appropriation to do this. So I have a packet of information here.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. So yeah, so there's all the information there. Everything about the library, what all we do, services we offer, and then what our plan is for our 2025 renovation as well. So you're welcome. And so there'll need to be like a hearing or something like for that. So do you want our people to like advertise it and everything, or do you want to take care of it?
Why don't you go ahead and advertise it unless you want to advertise it anywhere?
You can
To make sure
advertise it, but can you send me a copy of the notice just so I can make sure we're all copacetic in terms of what we need to do?
Yeah,
in terms of-
yeah, like I can send like what they're gonna, yeah, that's fine.
Just make sure we've got everything in there that needs to be in there.
We're using, ICO is who we're using.
I know
so-
your, unfinished
Yeah.
business list is
Not
long.
I guess they probably know what they're doing.
I'm sure you'd be fine, but like.
Unfinished business is pretty long list on our agenda, but can you go ahead and stop sign?
Okay, and then we can be on the agenda for next time then. for that-
Absolutely.
for that,
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, well, I
additional
wrote,
preparation.
yeah,
Okay.
put all
Yeah,
that
we have
to
to
the-
look and make sure everything like that.
Right, okay, perfect.
That would be a good idea.
Oh, I think,
And
yeah,
remember, you probably know this, but
I mean, even though it's 20 mile an hour.
Yeah.
it's really tricky.
that's a highway down through there.
Okay, and if you want to post something, or if you want us to put something on the board, or just. Okay, all right, you've got it covered then.
Yes, right.
Thank you. You got that in your notes as far as the agenda. in your grant?
Yep, yes, ma'am.
So I won't remember.
Okay. Anybody else?
I do have one more thing.
Yes,
As
ma'am.
a citizen, though, not as the director of the library, but talking about stop signs, I live at the corner of 400 Brady and Washington, very close to the library. I was wanting to know if we could maybe have that as a four-way stop. I recently had 2 of my cars totaled by a drunk driver who was flying down the road. And I see it a lot. I've seen many accidents at that corner. I've seen just people just going way too fast, so.
What was the corner?
Brady in Washington.
It's by Dolly and
I know. It's not, no, I was not.
I really agree with that because we go to the library on Tuesdays and Wednesdays a lot. And there's you can look at the packet and see how many people attend on like Tuesday and Wednesday with little kids. And it's very busy and a lot of people are walking during that time.
Yeah.
And right there, I feel like I don't know if that's a possibility or not.
We'll add it to the agenda and maybe you can.
Yep.
Yep, right there. Yep. All right, anybody else have anything for the group? Okay, we'll move on. Committee reports, don't think we have any of those. Junior council concerns and reports. Do you guys have anything for us tonight?
I don't have anything.
We actually have something for you tonight. We got 2 of our seniors here tonight. This will be their last meeting, Eli and Natalie. And if you want to come on up here. Have a plaque here for each of you. And basically it says City of Attica wishes to congratulate and thank Natalie Jean for her service as a member of Attica's very first junior city council. And yours is a little bit different because it says City of Attica wishes to congratulate and thank Elijah French for his service as president of Attica's very first junior city council in 2024.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Department heads, Mr. Swank is out. Chief Miller is out. Chief Little.
So I just had an interview today with our 3rd part-time firefighter. Looks like we're moving forward with him. He works for Purdue Fire. He's a paramedic. He also works currently part-time for We All. But he's moving to Petersburg, so it's much closer. He's very excited to come here and work for us.
That's awesome.
So he's going to be putting in his notice at We All. So it'll be starting mid-September.
That's super
Great. So
exciting.
he is, like I said, he's a paramedic, fully certified in ropes, all the stuff that we do here, so.
That's great.
That brings us 3 very well qualified individuals, still looking for a 4th, but we'll keep looking.
At the end of this month, we should know about our grant for the building. Last month, we were told that we potentially could get an initial 250,000 on top of the 500. It sounds like they've changed their mind. They're not going to do that, but we won't know for sure until the end of the month. So what I am proposing is that the city takes the bond out for 250 or 300 to finish renovations. Obviously, the fire territory would pay for that yearly bond, but I think it's something that we need to do to get that project finished once the add-on is done. That'll redo the kitchen, bathrooms, bigger day room for the part-time guys and volunteer guys, have somewhere to go, and then some other odd and stuff to kind of update that building. So until we find a different solution. So.
And talking about that, have we had any updates on the church at all in that other building?
I've not heard.
I've had some phone calls out. As far as I know, the board was going to talk about it at some point, but I haven't heard. I haven't seen any movement in there at all from anybody as far as church goes. So I think at this point it's almost abandoned, it seems like. So I'll keep pushing and see if we can do something with that.
Yeah, great multi-use facility for you and the.
I hate for it to go to waste, especially if we can use it for something, whether it's fire, police, or whatever the case may be.
Could make it a workout center for you guys or something.
I mean, the options are endless, really.
Yep.
So we can get all of it.
Chief's aware of this. I got a letter here from the Wayne Township trustee. Since we're the financial entity for the fire district and they're the financial entity for the West Point Fire Department, there's a copy of their contract here that they signed, and the city council needs to sign that as a protect the territory. I don't know, you want to look at that before I pass it around or not, really quick? Do you have anything to add to that?
So that was built into the whole territory to begin with, since they cover half of Davis Township. That was able to give them a little bit more money on top of the 5,000 that they were getting, and the 5,000 we were getting. That bumped them up to 15,000 to help cover that area. So it's already in the budget plan. It has been from day one. So we're not out any extra money or anything like that. It's just already built in. We just needed paperwork so we could pay them out every year now. So basically an invoice.
It's fine, but your date's wonky. Did they write that or did you write that?
They would not.
Okay, I was gonna say the only thing is that I'd asked that they change it to retroactive to January 1st.
Yeah.
Because it just says it's made this first day of January
Well,
2024.
I'm assuming now is their trustee.
Well, they signed down here on 8/6.
In August,
So, yeah.
I just would have made it retroactive, but I.
There's
can
2 copies there if everybody wants to sign both copies.
You know, I actually had to call them about it, so I'm kind of surprised that this wasn't done first of the year. So, hey, whatever.
It's gonna work, I just would have tidied it, yeah, it'll be fine.
says black
Copy
and
for me and one for you to take back. or do you know?
there.
I don't-
Why do you have to be different?
I think it was sent to, the mayor.
Thank you.
I would assume one would be for us,
Yeah,
and
then.
one would be.
Did you want these?
I'll need a copy at least for us.
I get it, I get it, yeah.
Blue, you know, it's-
Well, I guess I need to sign it too.
You're right. Some
Yeah.
should carry
A
out.
test.
Listen, that's just my first.
We'll go ahead and move on. Mrs. Broadwater, did you have anything for the group tonight?
I do. I handed out the updated financials for your review. There are some things, that just will need to be adjusted between now and the end of the year. Not anything major. We are still in the process of being audited by the State Board of Accounts for 21, 22, and 23, 23 being a federal audit. We have a tentative exit interview scheduled for August 26th, but as recent as last week, they're still requesting some additional information that we're in the process of providing. Yes, Scott?
No, it's,
Okay. You just look like you had a
no, you
question.
just look like you're not happy today.
The budget as well, I've reached out to all the department heads. Our schedule for the budget this year is it will be presented at the September 9th meeting. Public hearing will be held at the October meeting, and it has to be updated to Gateway and approved before the end of October. Because of that timeline and the requirements of the state in order to advertise it timely, I will need to have all the city budgets uploaded for advertisement purposes by the 29th of August. I've asked all the department heads, including the park board, to have their budget to me by this Friday. Pardon me?
Got it to you today.
Okay, perfect. So that's where we are with respect to budget. I've been working with Baker Tilly on the budget, as well as working with them on an updated cash flow and a 5-year projected updated financial analysis. And the reason for this is we've had so many overruns with all the different projects that the city has going on that I think you as a council need to have an accurate picture of where we're at financially. I know there's going to be other asks for other funding. And at this point, until this process is complete, we're not in a position to be able to make decisions with respect to that. But I am working with Baker Tilly on getting that complete. The department heads, the mayor and I all work on the operating budget. Baker Tilly is assisting with the funding of all the special projects, that piece of the budget. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, great, thank you. We get updates. Rob Bannon, you're up.
Sure. You may have this already, but I'm printing it out, just pass it around. So, we are supposed to give a estimated budget for the year of 2025. This one's pretty easy. We're heading into a lot of construction, and all of our grants are reimbursable grants.
I handed this out to
Oh, you did?
everybody.
Okay. So, a lot of that money is being set aside just for cash flow, because it's gonna be a tremendous amount of, post and wait for the funds to come in. Then we are also setting aside $20,000. The building behind us is abandoned, used to be an old dry cleaner. That owner has agreed to sell, but we have to go through a phase 1 study to determine whether it needs additional environmental. If it does, then we may or may not do it, but if we do it, then we have to go through the whole grant process again to kind of mitigate that environmental issue. I mean, we've got some debate on the board of whether we want to take that on, but I don't know who else takes it on, and we do need the space to access the back of the building and for trash and things like that.
I think if nothing else, if you take down a building and you don't, just like we had the issue down
I
there,
think that's,
if you take it down and you're not building something else and you're not pulling anything up, then I think fencing and privacy or something for trash or whatever
Okay.
should be okay. But
Yeah.
anytime you got an old cleaners, it's never a good thing to never know what's down there.
and that was years ago, so they didn't use the best chemicals, but you never know. So the board has agreed that they would be willing to enter into an agreement, do the phase 1, and then just see where it goes. So that's what we have on our list there. And then I handed out this for those who have not seen it before, happy to pass it around. But essentially, we have a project downtown that's looking really good. I walked it today. you can actually walk down and see the store lines and the paint and where the curb's going to be with any new parking. So that's pretty cool to see. But what ended up happening during the bidding process is we get sidewalks, asphalt, and trees, but we do not get any of the other amenities that we had planned, which from my point of view, that's kind of the point of doing it, because we want to be able to plug in food trucks and have seats and planters and a couple character features. So this drawing shows all the things that were taken out during the bid. The bid dollar that was taken out was $250,000. When I looked back through the bid, there was a number associated with the stone benches was kind of outrageous. It was $72,000. I don't know why, but and so essentially what I'm asking is, can we put the scope back in minus the stone benches? And I think we can get it all done for $200,000. And I think we looked at this. We have two sources. You have money in the general budget that's not currently allocated. And then we do have TIF, although we're recommending that we save that for a potential project at the elementary. But either way, what we're asking tonight is that if you would be willing to take a vote on whether you could commit the funds.
No.
And then as a result of that, we could release them to start their working drawings. So here's the schedule. If we release today, it takes 10 to 12 weeks. They could finish all of their downtown work by the end of October. And then the challenge with not doing that is that it will fit within their current construction schedule. They just have to delay a few things. But if you don't do it, it will disrupt the current construction schedule. And so that's additional dollars. And then if we wait and come back and do it later, it's also additional dollars. So what we're able to do is to bring back, because of the timing, we're able to bring back what was in the original scope without any additional dollars or change, other than just a delay to some of the install today. And then they'll finish by the end of October. So that is the challenge we have, because it just will cost more to do later. You'll have to tear things up and go back in. So it's electrical. I'll just go down the list briefly. It is banner arms, the lights out in the middle of the intersection, the electrical for string lights on the trees, the outlets for food trucks and events, the planter boxes themselves, the built-in benches in the planters, the stone benches, and then the planter at the main intersection.
That's everything that got cut?
That's everything that got cut. Basically, everything that's not a sidewalk or asphalt or a tree was cut out.
Now it's got some price went up on everything.
Yeah.
And the stuff out of scope.
So how did we get it from 250,000 down to the 200,000? Just the change in the
bench alone. Yeah, the change of the bench alone fixed it. And that would have been, the better thing to do when we had the issue, but I think it was just the timing and discussion of, remember you had one bid and you were expecting three, and so that's how it happened. I think it's important to address, because I think we're all going to be very disappointed if we end up with a downtown that isn't any different than it was before, just like the reconfiguration. The whole point of doing this was to drive more pedestrian traffic, so that people felt comfortable to stay longer and get involved downtown. It may seem small, but these features do add up, and they change people's perspective of what downtown is. We've got a nice downtown now, but it's sidewalks with a couple benches. It's just not what the expectations are for. You go downtown Lafayette, you see these features. So that is the pitch, and I do have the email if you want it. I'll just give it to you and pass it around. Just
to remind everybody, we could say we want to do this, but I think we really need to have Baker Tilly look at it first before we pull the trigger and actually hand any money over. I mean, we can say we're supportive of it if Baker Tilly has a favorable recommendation to us, but I don't think that we can just blindly say,
We
yeah,
need to
let's
get
do
our
it
feet
until we know where the money's coming from.
Need to get our bearings first. I mean, this is definitely some stuff that I'd like to see in the project, you know. It's the little details that really make it look nice. You know, the trees and the lights in Christmas time and, you know, like Rod said, having food trucks being able to plug in there. I think that this is something that I would like to see in it. Unfortunately, it sounds like we need to get our bearings before we can do anything.
The goal at this point is to have the cash flow analysis available for review at the next council meeting, along with the budget. And it's my understanding that Baker Tilly is planning on being here to present that. Give you guys an opportunity to look at it beforehand, but also to present it and answer any questions that you might have with respect to it.
Good.
And the cash flow is in addition to the updating the financial plan. It literally is looking at our current cash flow with respect to the expenses and stuff that we've incurred, and then projecting that out, you know, with our anticipated increases in revenue and, the continuation of the capital asset projects and expenses associated with it. And we really, really need to know where we're at financially because
till we
we've
know
had
that.
so many expenses that were not budgeted.
Rod, is there any way that we can get, like, I guess, the conduit ran so that these things can be added without tearing up concrete later? Because I think we all would like to see things like this in the scope. And, you know, if there's just something that we can do to prepare for it so it's not as invasive later, you know. I know I'm supportive of having these things in here.
I am as well.
You know.
I think we want to wow people when this gets done.
Absolutely.
We don't want it to just be a normal thing. You walk downtown, we want people to say, wow, look what they did here. And
Well, this is kind of the capstone on the project, and I've been pretty resistant of a lot of this and knew that it was gonna escalate, the price was gonna escalate, but these are the final pieces to where our citizens can actually have a spot to sit down and enjoy, and, the whole downtown's changing, but, it hurts because we get so much stuff going on, but, you mentioned TIF, and Miss Mason, I see that you're in the audience, I know we have plans for TIF, and I'm on the same board as you, but is there any interest at all in helping us as we have many things going on to where potentially I know that if we were to do something big with the elementary school, we would be looking probably at some sort of a bond or something tying into our future revenues for that, but is there any interest from your side regarding assisting us to put kind of the capstone on all this great stuff?
I, like everybody else, want to see the project done and done right. I have major concern that we're still spending $200,000 on one block. And I think if you want to have a wow, you better take it down through town. And I don't want to hear about phase 2 and phase 3. I mean, we're already looking at putting the lights all the way down through town. So you have that consistency. But I think that's a heck of a lot of money to put into one block. So then it's going to be another $2,000 or more, probably more. And then it's going to be another $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 for the third block.
$100,000.
Yeah.
We've got 2 more blocks to go. If each block is costing $200,000 and the last block is the biggest block, I mean, I think you have to look at the total picture.
you can't have a total picture if you don't have a beginning. I mean, if we don't.
But adding
do
to
it
it,
right.
I mean, if you're talking about, wow, I don't know what people say, well, why didn't they finish it? Here's $200,000 and they've got 6 trees and 8 benches. Where's the rest
I can
coming?
address some of that. This block that we're working on is the widest. And so there are more features there that won't continue down the street. So all of the food trucks are right there in the angled parking. We won't have room down the
I'm
street.
not talking about widest, I'm talking about lengthwise.
Yeah, but I mean, the number won't be as big as you go down because we'll have fewer amenities as we go down. We won't be able to fit them. You see what I mean?
So like,
I don't know, and I guess, Rod, the comment when you made at one of the meetings was, giving it that urban feel. And that really set me back because we're known for historic downtown Attica. And so do we need, I mean, does it have to be this way? I think we want the planners, yes.
Unfortunately.
Does it have to be that way, or is it more of a historic
Well,
look to it?
when
And
urban is historic and vice versa. It's about the buildings that are there, right? And what we're doing is the brick paving, right? I mean, that's historic. We're doing the Shepherd's Hook lights, those are historic. The only thing that's maybe not historic is all the electrical that's being put in.
I think that electrical has to be there. I 100% agree with that. I think you want the electrical, you want it at the base and you want it at the top. I don't have a problem with that at all. I just think that it's more than just the 100 block.
Well,
Or
we gotta
it's
start
just the
somewhere,
200
Cindy.
block of the,
We can't eat the whole elephant at once,
well, I'll
just
tell you
one bite at
what.
a time.
So how do you make it all look nice and presentable? Or do you just say, well, it's, we'll get to this sometime, and it never happens?
Well, that's what's happening now if we don't do it.
Yeah, we gotta do it
I think you.
one little bit at a time as we can.
I think you'll be more motivated once this is done. And you are looking at the lights all the way down, so that'll help tremendously.
is that sorry, I'm going back, is that B1 street light banner arms, or is that just the lights itself? Sorry, maybe that's a silly question.
No, that's
What's
fine. Let me
B1?
figure it
Is
out.
B1 just the banner part?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the
Banner
banner.
part, okay.
Yeah.
So the lights are still where it says B1, we
Yeah,
still have
those-
lights there.
Those are in the scope. You're
Okay.
fine on that.
It's just adding the
It's
arm
added
itself.
banner arms.
Okay.
Because they don't come with the fixture.
That makes sense.
The
I just
lights
wasn't-
weren't in this scope of the project.
Okay.
Remember, we had to go back and negotiate with Duke to
That's
get
right.
the lighting.
So we would need, I was kind of going through like eventually for the whole part down there, we would need banner arms for the entire, all the way down by where the hotel used to
Correct,
be.
yeah.
We would want string lighting for all of that down there. We wouldn't need the outlets for like what you just said for the food trucks all the way down. That's just gonna be in this
No,
200
it's
block.
only in
Just
this
there.
spot.
Yeah, outlets for event electrical. I see that just on that main section there, so that's probably just that one spot.
But you might need electrical outlets on the outside in the future, not for food trucks that you're gonna have. There can be other needs for electrical outlets.
Lights on trees.
Yes,
Wait,
Yes.
that's what
Oh,
I meant
yeah,
for the
yeah,
out,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there
what I
will be
mean.
some there. So this intersection has electrical in it for events as well. So if you close down the intersection, there are electrical outlets in those poles. That's what you're saying. You need that.
I even in the ground, even coming up from the ground on down where the businesses are right now, where you've got Pizza King and on down that block, there's still need for electrical outlets there if
There
you
will
want to
be.
decorate the trees.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue with that. The question is, as he said, you try to eat that whole elephant at once, and we don't have the money to do that. We don't have the money to do this right now.
It's a matter of what you're
But-
choosing to do and what you're not choosing to do.
So-
You're talking about running the line, so you can have the electrical conduit there. I mean, is that possible?
You'd have to
Well,
take
so
up
what you
the
would do is you'd
sidewalk.
add on to what gets installed here. You just add on and go down the street in the next round.
But are you tearing up this?
You'd have to
Well,
tear up the
there's
sidewalk to
only
get conduit in the ground.
So you're
Yeah,
you
gonna
don't
put in
tear up
brand
the
new
whole side.
lights, do you have to tear up the sidewalk? What
More
happens
than
to those brand new lights that you put in when you have to tear up the sidewalk? Does that?
they're not really mounted on the sidewalk. They're mounted on
Yeah,
a
they're on
pedestal
posts.
that's round, and the sidewalk's poured around it. So even if you had to take the sidewalk up, those would stay there.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, timing is everything, and I know with them doing sidewalks and everything else, I mean, obviously, you guys just heard Ms. Broadwater and kind of our situation where we were really trying to get our finger on the pulse on budgeting and everything else, and some advice from, or guidance from Baker Tilly. Obviously, we're talking next meeting, so that's 4 weeks from now. So how does that affect things, Rod?
I don't know, I can go back and ask, what happens if you're delayed until, what's the date on that?
8 September.
But I think first we have to all agree if we're supportive of doing this, if Baker and Tilly can make it happen for us. Because otherwise we don't, are we all in
No need
agreement?
to worry about waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's if you use your public funds versus TIF, right? So,
Right.
Well, I will be first to say I'm supportive. I think these are the final pieces to where, yes, it's one block, but it's one of many blocks, one of many things we've spent.
Mark that down.
I've been 5 years.
I know, it's pretty good.
I've been 5 years here resisting this damn thing, but I want to see it done now. And we were too far along, and this is the critical pieces. And I know when it comes to Main Street and many other things, having the electricity there and having food vendors and having some of this downtown celebrations and things this is going to bring, I think we won't regret it. Now, do I think did we need this? No, but I think it's going to be beautiful, Rod.
I agree.
It's the beginning of something really good, I think.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like everybody's supportive of it if Baker Tilly can figure out where the money's come from. And Cindy,
Yeah,
it's still a hard no.
I am all for making the town better.
Help us eat that elephant, Cindy.
We all gotta take a bite of that elephant.
If that means coming to TIF, I don't know about that.
I know, I don't know, I'm on that too. I don't know if I wanna dip into that, cause we
It's
have,
too easy to start dipping into it,
Yeah.
and then you don't have it when the big stuff comes.
and that's
and
my
you have
fear is
to do a
we need
bond.
it. We need
Float a
it from the
bond.
big stuff. We were just talking about that. We need it.
There might be other ways of coming up with that, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what we're saying with Baker Tilly.
Let's see what Baker Tilly says and what they come back with, and if there's a shortfall or something, maybe we can come back and ask for.
So Rod, is the figure $200,000? Is that what we're searching for?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
yeah, and it's based on the contract that was let. So what we'll do is we'll take out, I think it's $22,000, that's all we have left to do the stone benches, and we'll just figure out how to solve it for that 22,000, and that will get us to the 200.
I did have one question on the bench. Well, all the floral, how much will there be as far as floral goes? And
Plants, sure.
yeah,
They're only
You can put
inside the
anything in there you want
planters.
to.
They're age planters, and there are 5 of them on the street. And they're,
There you go.
I think they're
Sure can.
4.5 by 13.
and currently we have a wonderful gentleman that takes care of our planters quite a bit. So what would be our plan to take
They're
care
all
of those?
perennials.
What's that?
They're all perennials.
Okay.
Come back every year.
And so they're planted with the landscaping, and they come back every year. You just kind of maintain it, but you really don't have to do anything.
Okay.
But,
Probably have to water it once.
But they would need watering, and I know that's what Judge Mason does, is he waters them and stuff, but depending on whether we get rain or don't get rain and things like that, so.
Monitoring and watering, yeah, but clean up. But in terms of, planting them every year and bathing them in the lawn, you're a little better because they're perennials.
Well, I think, like Attica Floral does a great job for the city. And the
Yep,
fact
they're perfect to do that.
that they plant them.
Yep.
I mean, it's their flowers, they plant them, they're good.
That'd be
Supporting
awesome.
local business.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't have all these and all of a sudden they're dying.
No, I-
That
Trees are
comes
being
out-
put in, Rod. What kind of
The
trees?
funds to pay Attica Floral comes out of Mayor Grant's promotion budget.
I
Sorry.
don't have
no,
promotion
No, that's
budget,
fine.
remember?
Yeah, they bloom purple.
The
I
trees
think
are?
the perennials, they
Oh, okay.
bloom purple. I think there are 2 different colors of that. Let me look up.
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, trees.
Yeah, trees. Not a, what is it? Not a,
Not too much for them to
what is the
invade.
one, what is it, the pear one, the,
It's a Katsura tree.
is that, ask her, is that okay? I'm looking at Justin.
What's that?
A Katsura tree? Go show Justin.
And so they're a little bit more ornamental. A little bit ornamental, they change bright color in the fall. And that's down the street in the planters, but then when you get to the intersections, they're different trees.
Okay.
They're bigger trees.
I feel like I do remember you sending that to us.
So I guess question, when we get
It's
into,
it's on our website.
Okay,
so.
okay.
when we get into the point of doing that, can we save these trees we've got and relocate them someplace else?
We've
I don't
already-
want
Yeah.
them
We've
because they're an invasive
Oh, they're in-
species. Yeah, we don't
okay.
want them.
And the trees
Plus they
that were
reached
down
their
there, we cut
lifespan.
out of the 200 block, they're gone.
The ones at the intersection are London and Plane Tree.
Never heard of them.
They're good trees. They're good trees. We have one in our
Okay.
backyard.
Can we move forward here?
They should live in a car.
Rod, do you have anything else?
No, I'm gonna get you a response from the contractor based on potential release next month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to unfinished business. I'd like to revisit the Wabashi Park funds project priorities. And I think at the last meeting, we talked about splitting the remaining funds between the Riverfront Park as far as equipment goes, and then the pickleball courts to put up in Ravine Park. Is everybody on board with that? I don't want to keep saying we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. Is this a path forward? And I've invited Mr. Harmison here tonight. He's got some other things on the agenda too, but I feel like we need to move forward here one way or another and
I
decide what
agree.
we're going to do.
Mr. Harmison, based off all the survey results you've got so far, my opinion varies on this. I think amphitheater would be something great to have some stuff possibly to pull back down to the old Potawatomi days and some things like that. I think the dog parks are great. We have several great things here. We just got to pick and choose what we can have and what will serve the community the best. So based off your survey results, if you got to choose two of these four, what would it be?
So facilities ranked higher than additional sports fields and or courts. Out of, I think we had 270 residents of Attica, totaling over 1,000 households, so that's roughly a third of our population. And cost-wise, I didn't look at the amphitheater, but again, that ranks higher than playground equipment or the additional sports fields. So I would personally lean towards amphitheater. I think that from the park board perspective, when we talked about it, people agreed that at the time, the pickleball courts wasn't on the table when we were discussing this. But we agreed that playground equipment and amphitheater would be our priorities. But I personally would lean towards amphitheater. That would probably be a little bit less costly than some of these others, and then you can work towards some of those other amenities that were initially in those phases. That's where I stand.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you asking that because that was my exact point.
That's.
Is we asked for a survey. This is what people had said they wanted. I have children in the community. I don't see myself taking my kids down to the park down there. We have two great parks. That's my only thing.
And remember what I said though at the last meeting, Kaylee.
You don't want, I get,
This
yes.
isn't for your kids necessarily.
Mhm.
Your kids are close to a park,
They are.
but what about the kids down at this end of town that aren't close to that park? And what about the people that come from out of town that stay down at our riverfront and camp?
Mhm.
What about an amenity down there for them? What about when we have a festival down there, and the kids are down there at the festival? What about something for them to do? down there?
I don't disagree. My only thing is, and again, this is gonna sound kind of rude and it's not meant to be that way. So, because you know I respect you greatly. Why did we even do a survey if we're not gonna follow along with? That's my only thing.
I agree.
And I will
agree
shut up
with
then,
that.
because listen,
I agree with that.
that's
But
my,
he did say playground.
he did, he said,
Well, and that's
but
why.
that was ranked 5th, correct?
Yeah.
That was ranked 5th out of all the different things. Now, I don't know where pickleball landed either. I'm on the, I don't,
It was
and I
kind of
don't
lumped in with other facilities.
where was
I
dog
think.
park? Where was that on there? Do you know?
That was under facilities.
That was under facilities too. So again, I don't even, community, I know you're watching, I don't really like animals, but I'm for a dog park for you guys. Like I'm for that, for what's good for the community. I'm just saying, I'm just being honest. I'm not a big cat person or
Let
dog
me
person.
say this, and I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here. how many people, we've had one person come up tonight and talk about a dog park.
Mhm.
How many people was here a few weeks ago about a pickleball court?
A ton.
I mean, they packed this place,
Yeah, they
there were
did.
people standing outside
Yeah.
about a pickleball court.
And I would figure a pickleball court would be over an amphitheater as far as being used more. And I'm a musician. I would, love something, but I would think.
And we
amphitheater would be
already have an
used
area
more.
down there at the riverfront where a band could play if we wanted to try it out down there and see how that, I mean, Scott Gregory had a huge crowd down there.
But
When he
that's a
was
little
playing.
bitty pavilion. That's not an
It is,
amphitheater.
it is.
And we've got to pick and choose. And we did a survey here. We've got results. I've been hesitant on the pickleball courts. I understand they want that. And we could allocate the space, and I'm sure with the things you're going with the pool and nonprofits and things like that, that there's other means to get funding for the pickleball courts. So based off what Mr. Harmison just told us, I'm supportive of an amphitheater and the park equipment. I don't know if we can squeeze both of them in, but I'm supportive of those two.
I just see the amphitheater doing a lot of sitting around
That's
waiting
my
for
thought,
somebody
too.
to do something.
Well,
I guess we're all kind of, we
Which
all
I
have
hate
our own
that.
thoughts on it, because
Which I
we're
hate
not gonna
that.
agree, we're not even agreeing.
I
up
have
here.
advocated for pickleball for the seniors and all the younger guys that are playing now too. I'll go with whatever you guys want to do, as long as the citizens know that I have really fought for the pickleball courts, because that's been important to me.
Mhm.
That's, I understand if the survey says something else, I'll support whatever you guys want. But I know how many people were here and how many people really
And
were
that's
big
my
on that.
point.
so.
I mean, that's the only time that
Yes,
we've
but
really
those,
been flooded with people wanting some specific thing.
I support that.
I guess, like surveys are kind of funny anyway, because
You're
I
not gonna
didn't fill
get
one
them.
out.
I didn't either.
I did. I did it. And I don't remember what I put.
So yeah, we tried advertising that as much as possible. We put it on our social medias, the flyers around town. And again, you're gonna have some sort of discrimination within the data if people don't see those things. I think for the most part, as we looked at our age ranges, we had a pretty good even about across our age classes. And again, that's just what folks were saying, and that's, as we're looking at our 5-year plan, we want to represent what community members are saying. So that's where I'm gonna be putting time and effort towards in carpooling.
How much money do we have left?
Around
About five.
$500,000. And that's not to say it's got to be spent on park stuff. I mean, there wasn't a grant. That was a obligation bond the city took out. From a fiscal standpoint, could go down to downtown street lighting and save us a bunch of money
Yeah,
over
do
the
that.
next 10 years.
I thought it had to go towards something as far as the
there's no time.
park
to this.
or anything
Nope.
like that, something
Nope.
public. Okay, good.
Say I'm supportive of growth, so I mean,
Me too.
whatever you guys decide is best is growth, but I just think.
We have
an
multiple
amphitheater
things, and I
is
think
sitting
all
there
of us
for a
have
while.
ties to many different things. To me, to do a dog park, I'm supportive, and I know there's a lot of animal lovers there. If we did that, I would think that realistically, we could do a nice dog park that we would have to kind of self-maintain and things like that. But for high side, $8,000 to $10,000, something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have it. So that's one thing we could have. Park equipment, we take a chunk, and if we got 500,000, basically what we're talking about for pickleball courts for 4 of them is in my opinion, about 120.
If you go the Cadillac, they said
Well,
it's about
they're not
200.
getting a Cadillac. They can get
I
stuff.
understand.
But it's cool. I
Hey,
researched.
they've got a Pinto right now, so.
Well, I researched these, and with the
But if you're gonna put money,
With
you
the-
might as well get
with the
growth.
premium top that they do on them, it's 25,000 from everything I researched. I don't know where we're getting our bids, but
So you're
25,000.
looking at 100 just for the topping. 100,000 for 4 courts just for the topping.
Well, then I think can't get the Cadillac. So I'm trying to see, is there a way that we can get the most of these projects to help and meet the most of things? And we don't get the Cadillac there, we don't get the Cadillac park equipment, we don't get the Cadillac dog park. But can we get 3 of these instead
Well,
of 2?
Mr. Madden talked about going out and trying to raise funds for
Yeah.
the for the dog park.
And I talked to the pickleball people about them, and they are of means that if we give them the land, they could probably come together and do these pickleball courts. the way
And
that
I
they
think
want.
they're working on that.
And I will tell you that they're committed, and if we give them the land, I think they'll do it themselves.
We went up and looked at the land, and they're working to get quotes and figure that out for sure.
So just like we can say one can do it, they're of the biggest bulk of the pickleball population right now could have the means that have done well in their life that they could do something like that. We have many others that can't do these things, these other projects. I think that's gonna happen. And
I mean, even this playground equipment, you know, originally the drawings that HWC put out were what I'll call the Cadillac, if you will. I mean, they had sidewalks and they had many amenities that really were what I'd call fluff. And I was proposing that we just buy the equipment and put it down there and then go from there. But at least the equipment would be there, and we could fulfill what we talked about doing with the memorial for the kids down there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important to fulfill that and make that happen.
So I could defer, my opinion, I could defer on the amphitheater, but I think I'm just like you. There's a lot more people going to the river, camping, things like that. So having a smaller park equipment down there, because we got a beautiful park up Ravine Park. I see all the people up there all the time. You guys have done great. They love that. I think we try to get as much as we can for our dollar for this and prioritize, but I'd like to see it minimized dog park. I'd like to see if we can get more than just two things out of this, and pickleball courts and park equipment. You know,
Well, could we pick two and get them done?
that's my thing. We've been sitting on this for 3 or 4 months now.
And then if there's money left, we'll do it as frugally as we can. But then if there's money left over, then we pick up that third thing. Anytime you say we're going to do all three, then that's kind of the kiss of death for all of them.
Okay, can we do this then?
To me,
Let's put the pickleball courts number 3 and let's see how that develops.
so you're going to put the dog park ahead of pickleball courts?
Right now, yes.
If you could do a dog park for $10,000, you'd still have quite a bit.
That's what my thoughts is. You can do park equipment, you can do a dog park, and I don't know. When I look at $500,000, I'm thinking we should be able to get every one of these. I mean, I would think that we could get all 4 of these, and maybe it's not Taj Mahal, but I mean, geez, it's just ridiculous.
Prevailing wage what kills you. You have to pay union wages for municipalities.
Right.
That's what eats up all your money.
But our city guys could probably do dog park. A lot.
That is nothing more than, that's a community project. I mean, we could do that, in my opinion, so easy and so.
And you probably get volunteers for that, just like.
Yeah,
Like
you're just
that.
putting up fence, essentially, is all you're doing.
I mean, it's, you know, to me, it's galvanized chain link fence, you know, something's got the stuff on it to where it's not gonna rust and look nasty. And, you know, minimal things, and then you'll see that the people that go to dog parks, I'd rather go buy one of those big containers with all the bags, and you've got someplace to dispose of waste and stuff like that to where we can take care of it, but.
I just want to see something happen.
Well,
Yeah,
we've been sitting on this
move
money for a
forward.
while and could have moved forward, but then we were all.
And the longer we wait, the less buying power that money has.
Right.
We were all disappointed because we couldn't get everything and really shocked at the numbers, but
Yeah, we started out with like 6 great things, and
yeah,
then we were down to 1.
the layout was beautiful. I'm like, oh my
Right.
gosh, I can't wait to see this.
And,
now,
and I will say this about an amphitheater. I'd love to see an amphitheater. I love to go down there and sit and listen to music and things, but somebody's got to run that. Somebody has to book the acts down there. Somebody has to take the ball and run with that. And I don't know whether that's something the park board wants to bite off or not. I mean, you guys are already taking care of what's up at, would you just move McDonald Parks Entertainment down there?
More than likely, just from a parking perspective, I know that's been a concern.
that's a huge.
Yes,
There's no parking there. You'd get more people, different
Well, the parking at
venues.
the elementary school is probably going to go away. You know, we're not going to be able to utilize that to park up there. So,
Well, let's see if we're gonna replace that little pavilion we got up there. I mean, that kind of
It's
would
not really a
justify
replacement, but
a
it's,
pavilion or
it's a different venue. How's that?
Well, and a lot of people go up there for family get-togethers, family
How
reunions,
bad
things
is the
like that.
school's playground up there? Like, how bad is that?
It's bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I took my kids twice. That was put in when I was in first grade.
a, kids love tetanus.
So
Well,
it's, and I say that like, so.
I was just,
I survived.
I'm not trying to.
No, I thought the same thing though. I thought the exact same thing. But looking at it like with like taking my kids up there, they've had to change things, and Caleb and I were talking about how they've had to modify different things and move because things have broken on it or it's just kind of caved in different spots.
And,
I
and right now,
did
we don't
agree.
know what's gonna happen to that. I
Right.
mean, nobody's offered that to the city. Nobody's offered to move that equipment or the last I heard from the developer was they would like to maintain that as a park for the people that live in the
Live there.
development and for the neighborhood kids to play up there. So there was never any mention of doing away with that or getting rid of that.
Which would be great if they did that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
So Justin, do you know the price, do you remember the price tag for the nice new, everything you did up there, that we did up there at Ravine Park?
250,000.
250. We don't need near that down here. So let's go worst case. Yes, Miss Mason.
I just wanted to, I've had different people say things to me, and I just wanted to share some of that. One, this is just me though, I go down the river every day. Every day I'm down the river. I love going down there.
In her van down by the river.
The number of campers are not what maybe you think are the number of campers. And I go every day of the week. So I'm down there Saturday, I'm down there Sunday. It's my place to go, okay? I don't know, on very few occasions have I actually seen kids down there camping with family. So I'm thinking the numbers really aren't that high. And then I've had other people say, I would never take my kids to play down by the river. And I know it's not gonna be down by the river, that it's gonna be up further. But I don't know if it's really gonna draw what you think it's gonna draw. And I think it, it sounds good, but I don't know if you're really gonna reach as many people as you think you're gonna reach. Because people are saying, I'm not gonna have my kids going down to the river. Because once they get down there, they're actually too close to the river. And I just wanted to share that. I still think there needs to be some type of remembrance for the lady that lost her kids down there. And that can be a statue or whatever. I think that would be, I think that needs to be done.
That's something that.
And then the school was talking about having new playground equipment. I thought that's what Chris had said at our meeting the other night. So there is gonna be playground equipment out at the new elementary school.
Yes, they were doing all new.
And
I
so
think you said it's just delayed right now to the end of August, right?
Yeah, but I just,
Forever.
We're gonna be here all night.
I think you need to be aware of that, of what maybe some other people in the community think about, actually playground, and we talk about the campers and the number of campers, I don't know. Joanne, I don't know how many people actually come in and register, families and stuff, and I've met some very interesting people
I'll bet.
that have been camping.
So have
let me tell
we.
you. But I think it's worth taking,
So I hate to go here, guys. We're gonna table this again tonight.
No, we
No,
can't.
no, let's.
So let's just throw some
move
numbers
forward.
out there. Let's say we can do a dog park, whether it's a community project or not, for 10 grand. Let's say we go with the park equipment also. We do a remembrance. I'm thinking we have to do fencing of some sort around that, everything else there. Let's just say that the price tag is 250,000. All right, so we're at 260. At least it's 240. So are we in agreement if we do those and we do the pickleball courts? Let's just move forward and do it.
or do the downtown.
And maybe there'd be some left over to help out for downtown, or, I mean, that's, to me, that's one of our top priorities too, but we've got multiple things we're juggling here to where we want.
$200,000 out of the GO bond would meet Rod's request.
I think you should just to make sure I would up your fencing just in case. I'm sure you do it for that, but I'm just saying,
Well, I'm,
just in case.
So if we can come.
so
in
let's,
with 200
15.
let's say 15 for a dog
left,
park.
we can use it.
I just wanna make
Let's-
sure.
We don't need near what we've got a ravine down at the river. I'm thinking we could pull together a mix. You guys pull together all those different options, something much smaller with multiple options that we could do something for 125 down there shortly. I mean, and I would think.
At least get a good start.
If, the only thing I would suggest, if we put a dog park down there, we get it up on this side of the road and not try to put it down there
Oh, no, I'd say
lower.
right by that layout we had. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
perfect spot where we
Yeah.
continue to build on this as we
Yeah.
can and do what
Because
we're-
I think anything you put down lower, if you put a fence up, it's gonna catch every corn stalk that comes down that river.
Absolutely. It's got to be up there out of the flood.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
so
so-
let, 15 and let's say 150. So we're at 165. You said we got 500,000. That's pickleball courts to me. And then there's
You
still
said
big,
150 for pickleball courts?
no 150 for park equipment.
You have to install though too.
Well, city would probably install it, or
The-
whoever we buy it off of will install
When we
it.
bought that before, it was install
Yeah, that
price, everything.
That was
right?
installed
Yeah.
price, yeah.
It was.
So you're 165.
But they were installing it where there was already existing play equipment, so there wasn't any groundwork or
Right.
anything like that.
Down there
that
where
was
we're talking
needed.
about, there's small excavation. If any trees needed,
Okay.
additional trees need to come out, I'm sure the city would do it because
Yep.
I think we're pretty good now where we've got all the dead ones down from storms and
I was just thinking, I don't know anything about drainage and all that kind of stuff. Do you know anything about it, Justin? As far as, I mean, I know all that was already in place because they just replaced existing equipment, but would the ground need to be,
But
you
where,
just might want to take that into
where that house
consideration.
was already level anyway.
yeah, there,
Yeah.
up there,
Oh,
there's
you're
never been
putting the
any.
play equipment clear up
Yeah.
there where the boathouse
yeah.
was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
Out
putting it
the
down by the
No,
bathroom.
nothing, no.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
so at 165, let's say from there, let's go 125,000 is a really on top of the line on anything I read,
The
but
4 courts?
yeah, 25,000 a piece. You can go as low as 12,000 and they do go to 50,000. But 25,000 was the mean price for a,
And really, we could tell the group that, the nonprofit, that this is what's available, and they could work on pricing it and getting stuff worked out.
Or working out the difference.
Yeah.
just trying to throw some numbers together.
So we're
here,
gonna
Mayor, so
offer
we-
them 125, 15K for the dog park, 150K for playground equipment. Okay,
All right, so what's that put us at?
290.
290? And what else we got on our wish list there?
Amphitheater.
Amphitheater?
Can we just wait before we do that? Can we
I
wait to
would,
see the
I
price
give
of things?
that, don't bite off more than we can chew.
Right, if we get those three things, I mean.
Because then we could give some money we could give money to Rod.
Well,
for
we
the-
may end up not having, so we may have to tap into that to do what
Yeah.
we need to do downtown.
So I just say stop right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
A motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody gets a little bit of something.
Just finish up the unfinished business, remediation of the 200 block fuel tanks. I have still not heard anything back from IDEM. As you know, that came back clean, the last testing. It's been backfilled. We're just waiting for IDEM to release that so we can go ahead and move forward with the streetscape on that corner.
I just checked the virtual file cabinet. They've not uploaded anything, but Judd is going to a seminar with Patriot Engineering, so he should have an update by Wednesday, hopefully.
Okay, good.
And that's not holding us up on anything right now
No.
anyway. That's just future.
Well,
We need the
The-
letter.
there's an area right there on that corner. It's my understanding we can't do anything with until they're,
I thought it was development. I thought it was long.
we can't build anything on it, no, but we also can't finish the streetscape portion of that corner.
Oh, I thought we were good on that. Because the tanks have been removed and all,
I know.
so we just can't do the compaction stuff and everything else they've got to do in order to plant and seed.
Correct. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
gave us the final clearance, but we need the actual order from
Got
IDEM
it. Okay,
for the paper trail. I
my
would assume.
confusion.
Sale of vacant city-owned lots for new housing. We were waiting on.
Paul Middow, and I am still waiting on Paul Middow, and he is not returning my emails. So
Where is he out of?
he's out of Lafayette. He's taking ages. I got the warrant agencies back right away, so I can look at other realtors too and just see if I can.
Let's just
I'm working
move
on
on
it.
and do
Just
that.
the
Please. We gotta put this to bed too.
Do we have anybody local we can work with?
So you don't have to use an appraiser per se. You can use somebody familiar with the area. So like it could be like
Don't we have,
you or Eric or somebody like that.
don't we have several? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just pull another realtor though. That's not that big of a deal.
Sounds good.
I updated the cemetery rate increase rules change document, sent it out to everybody. Mr. Moss reviewed it before I sent it out to everybody and gave it his okey dokies. Everybody else had a chance to look at it.
Yes.
Does it reflect everything that we wanted? We already passed it
yes.
based on the changes.
Yep. Take something off the unfinished business list there.
Yep, thank you. 310 South Market Street tear down. That's for Eric, but I think he's just waiting on time and manpower to get that done. Rental housing inspections, I don't know if there's anything new there. Annexation of Harrison Hills and properties south, I'd like to keep moving forward on that. Supposed to have another meeting with Mr. O'Mahony coming up here soon.
Good.
About that property, huh?
That'd be great. I'd
Yeah.
say
He
good.
said it.
Yeah. So that's still moving forward. Hopefully we'll get some action on that. McDonald Street parking issues. Did we actually pass the?
Yeah.
We did pass it, so all we gotta do is get the signage and make
Okay.
that change.
Okay, so talk to Eric about that. Radar speed signs have been installed and they are working.
And I will,
I like that.
and I will tell you
Yeah.
right now that I frequently watch out my front window, and that has made a huge impact for
Good.
Perry Street.
I
Good.
sat out there on the front, on the swing, and they're slowing down.
It's picking
Good.
up down past your, I mean, right about your house going that way, and then for mine, as soon as they come through the four-way, that thing hits. And I don't know if it's just mental or what, but when you see red and slow down,
Yeah.
it's
It
making
works.
them slow down.
It's picking them up right at Pine Street down there, and I see a cement truck by the other day, he's just crawling through there.
Oh,
good.
Soundlanders, now, they're still a little, but it's, for the most part, it's really slowing down.
Something that most people don't know, and I don't even know that the police are aware of it, but that does track the speeds going through there and puts a timestamp on them. And you can go out and download that, I think with a smartphone app, and it will tell you the peak times that people are speeding through there.
So they know when to watch.
So they know when to go out and sit and watch.
That's
Great.
So
I guarantee it's higher on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
probably, yeah. So that's something I was gonna let police
Especially going
department
straight.
know.
How well would that be used for?
Haven't heard anything else from the ambulance move status. I think that ball's kind of in their court right now, and I haven't heard anything from the county on that. New business. If anybody else, unless anybody else has something they want to talk about. Discuss vacation changes for civil employees. I sent out some documentation on that here a couple days ago. I guess maybe I sent it to you on Friday. Eric had come to me and talked to me about the raises that we gave for longevity to the police department, and wanted to know what we could do for his folks and the folks in the clerk's office, what we'll call the civil employees that are non-police. And Eric was very supportive of when we gave the city guys an extra vacation during the time that the windstorm came through and they had to work all that overtime. And he said, you quote unquote, you'd have thought we gave him $1 million. And that kind of got me thinking about maybe extending their vacation time out, because that doesn't really impact the budget any for the city, other than unless Joanne or Eric or somebody comes to me and says, hey, we don't have enough people now because you let them all off on vacation. But Eric seemed to think that they could balance that as need be. I also sent out an attachment that shows how it would impact each current city employee and what it would change their vacation time to. But essentially, after that first couple of years, you would start gaining a day a year for every year that you've been here. So it would accelerate their accrual schedule for vacation. You would hit the 4-week mark sooner. I think it's 17 years. I've got it here, but I think it's at 17 years you hit the 4-week mark. Up until now, that has been the cap at 4 weeks. If you had somebody that stayed longer than that, they could gain up to 5 weeks of vacation. And it's all on the sheets that I sent out. It was kind of a first pass for me, and I'm willing to look at it, make changes, but I thought that was probably a fair way to do it by adding a day a year that you've been here. I know a lot of places accrue that way rather than just saying you get this many weeks after 5 years and this many weeks after 10 years and so on. So you see it climb every year rather than have to wait till that milestone.
I think, obviously budget's of a concern and stuff. So I think as I reviewed everything there, I think that's a great idea. I think it incentivizes them and for longevity and respects them for what they're doing for the community. So it may not be a longevity raise across things, but when you look at some of the employees that have been here during the higher end of tenure, that 1 week makes a whole lot of difference. I mean, when you look at, you give somebody a 3 or 4% raise over a year compared to a week off potentially. I think we've got 1 or 2 that would fall under that. That would be a big difference, I would think. So I'm fully supportive.
I did talk to the police chief regarding any fallout that might come from the police department because we didn't include them in this, but they did get a raise for longevity. And that did impact our budget and does impact our budget. But like I said, this I don't think is really going to affect us unless we have to hire more people to make up for it. But, hopefully you'll see more people staying with the city with this rather than leaving for another job. I know
Building a career with it.
the job market is hard right now. It's hard to get good people for what we pay. I've ran into the same thing at my other job where people will chase $1 down the street for a mile, and they really don't care a lot about benefits. They're looking at that bottom line dollar. But I think this is something that would help retain employees and help people that have been here for a long time.
I think that I agree. The only thing I look at, you have a couple people that have been there for 20 plus years. I'm looking at 3. Chuck, it hurts. I mean, pretty close. The only thing I think about for them is I don't know the ages of everybody, but they're probably getting a little closer to retirement though. And the only thing that I would say, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but for them, as they go in to retire, their Social Security, this is a good incentive for them, but that higher amount that they'd be getting paid for the year, does that make sense what I'm saying?
They're not going to get paid more for the year.
Well, don't they take the top, not for, I know, I'm saying instead of the additional vacation days, if you gave them a dollar amount more, it would have benefit them more as they retire.
I get what you're saying. But we don't have an unlimited amount of money in the budget to do that. So that was why I came up with the vacation thing after Eric and I talked, was this doesn't really impact our budget.
Right.
And it's something we can do for them today rather than try to figure out where we're going to carve that money out of the budget that we don't have.
And I agree. I just thought I wanted to make sure that that's my only thought.
I get it. Yeah.
With all the added expenses we've got going on this year, we'll have a better picture of where we're at, when we're reviewing the salary ordinance for next year. Then maybe we could do something, have a little bit more time, do something towards those longevity raises or something.
So that's coming up next month.
Right, but I'm talking
and
next
26.
Yes. And this would be something that's immediate that would affect them And, something we can revisit, and it's showing that how much we respect and appreciate them, and it'll help with retention and showing we're doing them something and we're listening.
When would this be effective?
January 1.
Thank you.
That's what I put on my proposal.
I just
And,
wanted to confirm that.
And also, I put on there that you can carry 1.5 times your accrual into the next year. It's not an unlimited, hey, I've got 1,000 hours in the bank that we're gonna have to pay you out when you retire. It's 1.5 times your accrual. So if you get a week's vacation right now, you can carry 1.5 weeks into the next year. So it forces people to go ahead. Yeah, forces people to go ahead and use it or lose it going into the next year. So you can carry, if you got 4 weeks, you can carry 6 weeks into the next year.
Is it cap at that? I mean, they just can't keep rolling it over.
Can't keep
until they
rolling
get a year
over.
off, right?
No, 1.5 times.
And right now, the policy is there's no vacation carryover unless it's approved by the mayor, yeah.
Does their vacation time require approval, or they just put in and automatically get it
They would have to get
Approved
approval
through
of
the
the department head,
supervisor.
yeah.
to keep us from everybody wanting to leave for
Absolutely.
spring break and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, good.
I think it sounds good though.
Sounds like me, you got support, so have an ordinance ready maybe for the next meeting. I love the layout though, based off the years of service and ours, I know you put some time in that, Mayor.
Yeah, that
that
looked
is
very
good,
nice.
yeah.
That was easy.
Well, I tried to look at it from several angles. I've got the accrual sheet, I've got the, how it's gonna affect us or affect the people, what it would give them, the current people that we have. All right, well, if we've got support for it, we'll go ahead and,
I'm abstaining from all this because
I
my
understand.
wife's employed. So
I understand, thank you.
thank you.
But would you like to share your opinion?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
She's a 20+ year employee.
The next one I've been kind of struggling with a little bit, but I think it's a good thing as well. I've suggested that we move to a 2-week pay period instead of a weekly pay period. I've talked with Joanne, and if Joanne has to do payroll, we're looking at probably a day to do the payroll. Mickey may be able to do it in a half day. She does it every week, so she's used to doing it. I don't know how long it would take Nancy to do it, but those two, you're looking at least a half a day, if not a day. So if you cut the payroll number in half, instead of 52 weeks, now you're doing it 26 weeks a year. So that's 26 full days of work that could be used somewhere else in the clerk's office instead of doing payroll. And I think that, and I went out and looked, and I couldn't hardly find any municipalities that were paying weekly still when I did a search. And most employers that I know of are at least bi-weekly, if not monthly now. I think it's a good thing. Like I said, if nothing else, just to save the hours and put those somewhere else instead of having to hire somebody else in the clerk's office one of these days. That's 26 days a year. That's a lot of time.
Have we kind of solicited any feedback from anybody, any of
I've
the city
talked to a
employees?
few of the employees.
Because I know that we have some of our city workers that are probably week by week, and when you make a change like this, it's gonna be
That's a hard adjustment.
they'd have to
Yeah.
know and have some time to plan for it.
And I wasn't planning on doing it until the first of the year, so that gives them some time to plan for it. Most people's, and I even did some studying on this, most people's bills, you still pay monthly. Most people don't pay their bills weekly. Now, you might buy groceries weekly and that sort of thing, but your utility bills, your car payments, your insurance, all that gets paid monthly. So going from a weekly paycheck to a bi-weekly paycheck really doesn't affect those that much. Your groceries is probably the big thing. And if we told them today that, hey, the first of the year, we're going to a bi-weekly pay period. Once you get over that first weeks hump, then you're whole again anyway. We went in and looked at the tax implications, and it really didn't change anything other than maybe a couple of cents.
Taxes are based on annual
Yeah,
income,
so,
so it's not, I mean, you
well,
may
I'm
have
talking
to
about withholdings.
right, you
didn't
may have to
change it.
modify it a little bit, but I mean,
Yeah.
your income tax is based on your.
So you're not going to pay
incomes.
more taxes by doing this at the end of the year. The thing that everybody drove home to me when I was doing the reading on it was make sure you let people know ahead of time so they can prepare for it.
Right.
And I think if we tell them now, this is August, if we tell them, hey, the first of the year, you know, you might want to save up a week's worth of pay or at least a week's worth of groceries. It doesn't even need to be a week's worth of pay, but you know, make sure you got your groceries bought for that week.
I think with enough heads up, it should be okay.
I think.
And most employers, you know, I know at the coffee house, we do it weekly, and it's, I don't have the time consuming stuff that you have, but everybody's punched in time and everything, or just handwritten time cards, or how?
Oh, they're all handwritten time cards. It's all manually input every week. It's, yeah. But the first of the year is not an implementation date we can adhere to. I talked with our.
I just said the first of the year.
Right. I mean, I talked to our software vendor and he said that either at the beginning of the quarter, absolutely not at the first of the year. He suggested possibly October 1st, since that would be the last quarter of the
I think that's
year.
pushing it a little bit myself.
Then maybe March of next year. I mean,
Whatever works.
I mean, we might be able to do it in November if you wanted to do it like that, but he said there's too many changes that have to be updated for the first of the year, and that's not a good time to implement it.
I mean, August, September, October, November, that wouldn't be too bad, I don't
Yeah,
think.
November. I mean, that's.
So I think October's probably pushing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to give more of a notice than that. Just, it is a significant
Yeah,
change for
and
some
you're gonna have
households.
holidays coming up, and they're gonna have to think in their minds how they're gonna budget and all that.
Right.
And that's not everybody, but that's just out of respect to them, because it is a big change, so.
So you guys think that November would be
That would be
suitable?
the earliest, yeah, that I would wanna,
I would say November, or if we can't do it, January,
or March.
or March.
I would prefer sooner rather than later. I mean, it will mean a tremendous
Yeah.
impact on our office as far as time. I hear, and Mayor Grant hears every single day, I do not have enough time to get my work done. I mean, how often have you heard that just, you know,
Yeah.
in the amount of time you're in there? I do not have time to get my work done. I hear that every day.
Especially if it helps you girls do your job, I mean.
It would be huge. It would be huge.
So it's okay if we make it November then? Is everybody all right with that?
Sure.
Can we put something out to let the employees know
Do
that?
we need a motion? Do we need to vote on that, or is it just an
I don't know that
agreement?
it needs to be a vote, but we can. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with a 2-week payroll process for all civil
Starting
employees,
November.
starting November 1st.
I'll second it.
Have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
I still feel like I should abstain, but you gotta.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Just a random thing here, complaints on numbers of cats in the city. I've had a couple of calls now about the number of cats that feral cats that are running around the city. I know a lot of people are feeding them, but it's kind of getting out of hand. The lady that called me the other day kind of expected the city to do something about it. And, you know, we don't have a dog catcher anymore. We've contracted with Paws and Claws. She said that she contacted them and they wanted, I want to say $35 to take a cat in out there. And that's really not something that I feel like our citizens ought to have to pony up and pay. So my suggestion to her was when Paws and Claws comes around for their contract, that we may want to negotiate a little bit harder with them on the cat population. And I'll throw it out to you guys. I just put it on the agenda so we could discuss.
Well, aren't they supposed to come out and trap them though? Because that was.
I think we agreed to, there's I don't know if it was a couple times a year or something, they'll try to do what they can for feral cats
Okay.
as part of our contract, but it's minimal. And I can tell you that I know it's a problem, and I know we fixed, I don't know how
Do
many,
we-
and we go through probably
Tons of them.
$500 of cat food a month.
Do we have is there
They're always in a dumpster. at school.
No,
Yeah.
it's, there's no control on it unless we really, get them fixed, and it's just always gonna be something there. I mean,
do we have a rule, like, we can't have dogs out, like, you can't just have your dog walking? Is there something like where if they're your cat, you just can't have your cat out?
There's so many
No.
feral cats now. that
they're
Nobody-
federal.
nobody
They're not-
really
they don't,
owns
they don't belong to anybody. They're just,
A lot
I've
of
got
people-
cats that are in our neighborhood that are constant. I mean, it's
Yeah.
constant, but if you had your cat put up too, their own cat, I mean, is that not a rule that it's not a rule for cats, they can just roam?
Most people just let them outside and just let them
Yeah.
do
No cat
whatever.
around.
I got neighbors of mine.
I hate
It's just
cats.
I mean,
dogs
ours
running
get
at
out in
large.
our
There's
fenced
not
in yard,
cats
but they're all
running at
fixed, and we fixed, I
I'm
don't know
gonna
how
get
many
everyone,
now.
please find
That
them, we
would
can
make
change
animals
it.
are delicious.
I'd like to eat them, but
Happy
they're
Pie
cats.
Pie, that's fun great. Oh, yeah.
You know, one time,
I don't
Paws
like
and Claws
cats.
took some feral cats from our store, then they brought them back after they fixed
Well, I
them.
do believe the Paws and
Which
Claws
keeps the mice
contract.
away, I mean.
Yeah.
Spider-
Well, it keeps
Yeah.
mice away, and,
Appropriately.
some of them are good, but if you
Yeah,
get them fixed so that we don't, it just.
Right.
We
So
don't
what's
have to
our-
solve this tonight,
Got it.
but I just wanted to get it on everybody's radar. We'll be thinking about it. I know Paws and Claws contract's gonna be coming up here pretty soon, so
Well, and they are gonna be asking for more money,
Well,
because remember
that's what
that,
I hear.
that's, from
Yes.
Uh,
Shoot 22s in town.
Ordinance to repeal outdated city codes. I think, did you have that?
We're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, so that was passed out. So during the code review, there were two sections that were flagged. The first one is adopting the 1999 code that has kind of the layout of the sections and things like that. All that's getting revamped. The second is how the code sections are numbered, which is also getting changed. So those two sections need to come out as they will not apply to the new code.
I make a motion that we proceed, ordinance number 2024-0812
A.
A.
Yes, please.
And which one's that, Scott?
And that is the ordinance to repeal certain provisions of the code of ordinances for the city of Attica.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Real quick, while we're kind of deep in the weeds on my stuff, we will need a short ordinance to change the bi-weekly pay. I just checked and that's in your code book, so to change.
Whoever.
So
Was
I'll
that
have
you,
that next
Scott?
time. Okay. That's what I was worried about. Sometimes it's in the motion.
Sorry, Dave. I'm trying to get to personal
Thank you,
space.
sir. There's those. And the next one is ordinance amending ordinance 2022-0912C relating to rates and charges for city waterworks.
And that's a back date too.
I'm sorry, what was that?
This
Mayor Grant?
ordinance amending ordinance number 2022-0912C relating to rates and charges for the city waterworks. And what this does is corrects a situation that we had with an ordinance that was kind of copied and pasted by Baker Tilly that said 3% for delinquencies, and it was actually 10%. So this corrects that and backdates it to September 28th of 2020.
Which is when the original utility ordinance was passed. So just resets it back to where it was.
I make a motion, we accept ordinance number 2024-0812B as written.
I'll second it. A motion is second, all in favor?
Aye. Did you already sign one there?
You need two copies, don't you?
There, he's got one. Mayor's already signed one.
You want one?
Sorry, Justin, we're getting there.
Who's it there?
There you go.
Best for last, I guess, there, Mr. Harmison. We just did this so you could stay around the whole meeting. You didn't have.
Park board purchase of land from Ann Harrison, and we're talking about the property over here across the street at the trailhead of the park behind the house of Ann's that just sold. Justin, you wanna,
Yeah, so this is a 0.58 acre lot. Currently, right there, we only have access to the trailhead and a small sign. This lot would, be strategically placed to provide future amenities such as a small parking lot there. It'd be great to kind of connect that side of town a little bit better to the downtown. Right now, the park board at our last meeting made a motion to enter into a purchase agreement with Ann contingent upon grant funding. So we're not asking for any sort of funding from the city. We have funding partners lined up. To get funding from this, we need to already have a purchase agreement in place with the seller. And I think the only thing we are asking is our closing fees, which would be $345, and that would come out of our park board budget.
Well, when that first come on the market, fully supportive that that's a protected area for the entrance to Ravine Park. And then with the new owners of Cottrell Village, does anybody know if did they pull out? I heard that.
no, they're there.
They're good. I think that capturing that so that's not taken away from us, whether it's decided to put a parking lot or whatever. I think that'd be a great entrance there for some additional signage. I mean, all kinds of uses, but capturing that I think is critical to protecting, the entrance and stuff.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the price dropped considerably.
Yes, it dropped considerably.
Yeah, we're requesting $15,000 from the Roy Whistler Foundation, which is their entity basically protects natural spaces. So they're local as well. They always like to work with more partners. We think that we'll rank pretty high on this. They're looking over their next round of applications here on August 28th. So this is kind of a little bit time sensitive. But we already have everything wrote up, and we basically, once we have a purchase agreement set, we'll be able to send off that grant proposal.
And this is all coming out of, the 345 is coming out of Park Board, so it's under their budget, and the other's going from a grant, so that's all we're moving forward with.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we proceed.
Have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
I keep saying aye, just have a habit.
Do you have, Justin, do you have a purchase agreement or do you need one from the city?
We plan on going with the city to the seller.
Right, I'm just saying, so you don't have a purchase
We don't
agreement?
have a purchase agreement,
But
we need to enter into a purchase agreement with the seller through the city.
But do you need the city to draft a purchase agreement by August 28th?
Oh, no, we have Ellen Hurst who's on our board, she's a realtor, she said she can draft that for us.
Can I see a copy of that, please?
I don't have that right now.
Well, when you get it.
Yep.
And then can we see a copy of your title works too when you get that
Yes.
from Ian?
There are certain requirements that we found through subsequent state board of account audits that we need included in those. So if our attorney could review that prior to moving forward, that would be wonderful.
Like get it invalidated or anything like that, that'd be bad.
I think we
Thank
did some great things tonight, Mayor.
I do too,
We
man.
moved
We're
the
done
ball on
before
a
3
couple
hours.
things.
Okay, I have one more thing.
Did I hear you say we're done?
I
One
know.
more thing.
There we go. Now she was
I
talking.
have one thing too, just to ask.
This is just as have you been out to the city, have you been out to purchase a plot at the cemetery? Has anybody been out there to purchase a plot?
Not recently.
Okay, do you know how it is tracked? Do you know how, I'm asking, because I know now, do you know if I go out to buy a plot of how it is tracked on where my plot is?
There's software in the city building. And they
It is not.
You get it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So you know how it is, because when Dad went out there to buy his plot, it is in a little booklet. And
That's
it,
their.
And there's,
That's that.
and there's
That's
city
the-
software and
because he
the,
didn't know for sure. Orville did not know for sure how it was all.
Yeah.
Orville's gonna get a computer and he's gonna start doing the software himself.
Okay, because he said, well, I think this one's available, but it
Sounds like
wasn't
Orville's
available,
retired.
but he didn't know. So Dad was worried if by some chance that it would
burned down.
I think
Does everybody know where their
I
plots
think
are?
Orville just keeps that book out there for his own.
What about the big map? Is that the only
Yeah, still
map
issue
that we
deeds,
have?
don't you?
Are there two?
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, we have deeds, we
It's
have
in
software,
the-
we
it's
have
in the
maps.
Software.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
I think
because
what
it's-
Orville has is just a copy, so he can. It's a working copy
Yeah.
that he has out there.
Okay,
It's not the
it's not
official.
the only copy,
No.
is what you're
No.
saying, cause
No.
do you see the concern?
Yeah.
No, I don't, Kayla.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit
It
further?
just It was a little sketchy,
Stop.
a little
Now,
sketchy.
you do get a deed, so you do want to keep that because mistakes do happen.
100%,
Caleb,
yes.
is there anything else?
No, I'm good, but he did something.
Mine's
Mr.
real
Rogers.
brief, but I had a citizen ask me, and I thought about it, but I have no idea, but can we build where Riley Field is? This question came to me about putting soccer fields down where we were gonna develop the land at the river up higher. And then that would be a good spot for senior housing, because it's right there in that neighborhood.
That's a super fun site. I don't know that.
I knew it was donated to the city, but I didn't know if there was any.
I don't know what all was donated to the city. When you say, are you talking about like next to the soccer field?
The
They're
soccer
talking
field.
the soccer
The
field.
soccer
And then move the
field.
soccer field next to down where we were gonna develop, but we don't have the money for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you could build on the soccer field itself.
And it's just something to think about, that I mean,
But I thought you were
put it
talking
down.
like up by the airport. I didn't
No,
think you
it
built
was-
that close.
Cause it's right there, there'd be sidewalks, you got Hollaby right there, and then Summit's.
Now, there
from the
may have to
corner,
be,
so,
Cause that
if there was a basement or something, there may have to be
Yeah.
remediation.
Yeah, true,
down
because of
there,
the
like they
area.
did for all the houses up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that area was not in the plume. The plume was up there by there, so I don't think that was
It
in
goes
any
Oh,
all
area.
yeah.
the way down.
Oh, yeah.
It goes all the
Yeah,
way
because the
down.
neighborhood over from that got,
My
Yeah.
mom and dad's house up on Park Avenue
Oh,
is
wow.
in it. Summit Street's in it.
Yep.
I
It
thought
doesn't drop off until you get to 6th Street.
Well, the meeting I went to had them making a presentation, and you had the Rileys there and the developer and all this other stuff like that, or not the developer, but the what are the
Craft Foods,
crafts
the
or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they showed the progress they've made with the things that they've done. And the plume is now toward the area, because I asked the question, the area that you couldn't dig and build something on is.
Oh, and
more-
it may have shrunken.
It
Yes.
is shrunk, and it is literally
Yes.
all within that square up there north of the pond or whatever, and where RMC's at. Everything else down there was now,
so Hollaby should be okay, right?
I think
Yeah,
down there, I
yeah,
think we should be good to
Yeah,
go.
that's a good
Well,
point,
that's-
Scott.
yeah,
Because the plume has shrunk, and I seen the drawings.
Because
and everything,
originally
so
it went clear to 6th Street.
that has shrunk enough that the main pocket was up there, because I thought, is there a way that we can ever get another business here or something? But that's a no, but that was the one spot where the plume was now that it's shrunk enough. And they've done future remediation since then that was going on a few months after when we had that meeting. So I think we're safe down there, and that's actually a pretty good damn idea.
Yeah.
Just try to,
I gotta
I
give
don't know.
Candy credit for that, because Candy asked me about it, and I thought,
No,
I
I
never
like
really.
I don't know that we can get that developer to come back here again, after what I heard had happened, so,
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't,
He didn't leave with a good taste. in
I
his
think
mouth.
that horse is passed.
But I like that. I went up to the soccer field Saturday and watched some soccer up there. And, I was sitting there thinking, boy, number one, I don't like the way the cars have to park along Summit Street there at an angle. I always worry that somebody's brakes are going to,
Right,
and it's going to roll down through the field, or a car's going to run off the road on Summit Street, or something up there. This would alleviate that.
then we have restrooms already.
There's
down
restrooms
there.
already down here. I think that'd be a win-win,
Where would you
really.
put, so where would the soccer fields go?
Where we were gonna develop everything, down at the river,
Okay.
We
it
bought,
just have to be flattened and excavated, I
well, and we
imagine.
bought those 2 additional properties too, that we've not got any place in these plans that would be very
It's like where
sizable.
we're gonna tear down that house at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
anyway, I just want to
No,
bring that
I
up.
like that,
Food for
Dwayne.
thought. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it.
If, speaking of going back with the soccer field stuff, I was gonna ask about this last year, but the bathroom situation would be really nice, because right now they use porta potties.
Right,
And another thing, Covington has a pretty big soccer following over there. Like they do a lot. They just got a huge grant from the Community Foundation, I think, for like $20,000 or $40,000, substantial. It'd be really nice if we could do something down there, even if we did that, like more, and maybe not more bathrooms, but like a concession stand for them, something like that. 'Cause
Permanent concession
yeah.
stand instead of a tent.
Yeah. Just so, I don't know, because I think that would be, they would lose some space, not a lot of space, but they would lose some space being able to. But I'm glad you were done there because you could see how packed it gets. It's
Yeah.
It's packed.
The only thing I was sitting there thinking is I thought about the permanent restroom as well, but then, who's gonna clean it? Somebody's
Yeah.
gotta take
Right.
care of it. Somebody's gotta maintain it.
Yeah.
At porta potties, the porta potty company comes and takes care of those and stocks them and all that. The city really doesn't have any obligation.
I think work with the organizations that's gonna be having soccer, whoever say they're responsible.
Give them the
They can have
key
the
and-
key if they're responsible.
That's
Yeah,
our
that's what I thought too. Just give them the key and say, you're
Clean up
welcome to
after
use
you're
it,
done.
but
Right.
yeah. No, I like that
That's 3.81 acres.
up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that'd be a nice spot for senior
Yeah.
housing. It's already flat.
You got that tree line right there to the back. Adequate parking. I mean,
We'd have to probably rezone it.
Probably.
I don't know.
We could probably get that done though.
Call that developer back, get him back up, or
What's that?
call that developer back and get him back in town.
Well, the thing of, they had a deadline that they had to meet
Right.
and they missed that deadline now. So it's probably gonna be next year.
And that depends if
Before
Fountain
they
County falls in where they can
Yeah.
do that again.
So
next
that
year.
may not, even if they wanted to come back, it may not be feasible for them.
But they necessarily would have to pay a lot for the land anyway, if we can help them.
Right. No, I like that.
That's a good
Because
idea.
even if
Yeah.
those
Good
two,
job, Candy. I'm sure you're watching.
those two,
Way to go, Candy. Enjoy that extra vacation. All right. Anything else? Do we have a motion to
I
adjourn?
make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that.
Motion and a second.
It's
All in
already
favor?
on here.
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Good meeting.